How many of you know that Zawahiri is a medical doctor? How many of you know that Bin Laden is a sheikh who graduated from Azhar? Is a sheikh who graduated from Azhar, I said. Well, Bin Laden never touched Azhar. He's a construction specialist. He's no philosopher. Neither is Ayman al-Zawahiri. The Palestinian question, and this is the problem. We were talking, one of the persons earlier asked a question, my friend with the Tampa Bay t-shirt, and it was a right question. He was talking about the people in Israel-occupied territories, Palestine, whatever you want to call it. We are showing them what they're talking about, jihad, Yasser Arafat. Is Yasser, whether we agree with Yasser Arafat or not, and at the risk of offending my fellow Muslims, I'll tell you, I did not like the man. Sorry. That is besides the point. The point is that he speaks for what he sees as an occupied territory and occupied people. And the same way that he has a right to speak about against occupying forces, the same way we can contextualize it. Was it not Churchill who said, we shall fight in the hills, we shall fight in the valleys, we shall fight in the mountains, we shall never surrender. And he's a hero. Why? We are speaking about American security. Shall we take a people, whether all in Osama, in the obsession tape, you'll see a lot of the footages, check the dates. The people in Iraq, burning American flags. The people in what they will call Palestine, fighting against what they seem to be an aggression. That is their right. Nobody has talked about getting into the United States and all this nonsense you hear. Sorry, I'll get an address because I don't need to offend Tom. He's a good man. I say it over and over, as God is my witness. All this talk you hear about Muslims using Sharia to take over the states. Which Muslim here? Maybe you bunch are a group of dissimulators, as Robert Spencer accused you of. So how the hell do I know you're telling me the truth? But which one of you really wants Sharia to be the state? Muslims talk about Islam governing the surface of the earth someday. Christians talk about Christianity. They don't talk about Sharia. There are some who talk about it. Those are schmucks and patzes and idiots, no good nicks, majaneen. We leave them alone. But do not make it seem as though Muslims are trying to take over this country. Because if they were, I would have had more than 3 sons to do my propagation for me. I'd have been screwing left, right, and center to produce as many sons as possible, because that's how we win. That's how we win, yes, by screwing, not by blowing up people. I'm sorry to be gross, but you need some truth. We're talking about truth, and you don't like it, sorry. I'm from the Caribbean, I'm gauche. I don't have the niceness and beauty of language. I'll call it like it damn well is.
So what was it about the political division?
The political division, religion and politics. All the agitation of the Muslims, where is it happening? Where is it happening? In the Middle East. In the Middle East, not here. If we have gone after 9/11, what did we do? We went to Afghanistan. Oops, didn't find Bin Laden there. Then we talked about the weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. And I was one of those. I have to speak the truth. I thought, it was good to get rid of Saddam. I never knew it would lead to this nonsense. And now the majority of the American people are seeing what it is. And we talk about religion and politics. You notice how prominently, twice, the name of Ayers was up there? Think about it. What's afoot here? Ayers' name was up there, and Obama, sorry, I was going to say Osama, you never know these freaking Muslims. Obama is being associated with him. You didn't think about that, did you? That's what the whole obsession thing is all about.
Reverend, for the record, Dave led some of the U.S. team on the WMD in Iraq and has very important information on that.
Sorry, if we're going to go there are people who have not found it, and people who claim that it is to be found. Who are we going to believe? End of story.
I think, can I just answer
Yes,
this?
please.
Okay, I'll do it quick. Because I went to Iraq, and one of the objectives was to look for WMD. Now, can anyone say there's no WMD if you've never looked? If you've never exploited the areas that people with top secret clearances, like intelligence officers who identified I identified 4 locations in Nasiriyah. They've never been searched as of last week. According to the Muslims, who many of them gave their lives to us in 2003, they told us, I'm not saying there's WMD in Iraq. I've never said there's WMD in Iraq. I have said that you've got to look before you can say no.
Okay, thank you. The United Nations looked and said no. Next question.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Greetings, my Christian and Jewish brethren. I'm here tonight. I'm actually representing 430 Muslims on the East Coast. Out of respect, I'll ask the very direct questions, and then my questions I will go back to the back of the line so these people have the opportunity, if that's okay. Tom, I have some questions for you.
Just one question.
Okay. Oh my God, I have to pick. Okay. Tom, you mentioned in the beginning when you were talking about truth, searching for truth. And I was at the premiere of The Third Jihad last week. And after the premiere, questions and answer session came up. Hopefully you remember you were there. And I stood up very clearly and asked Representative Adam Hassner a very clear question. Are you concerned that the backlash that this film will create for the peaceful Muslims? His reply was just as clear as my answer. He said, honestly, I don't care. Now my question to you is, Tom, I'm going to put you on the spot. If you are in the search of truth and you care about the peaceful Muslims, you are the only one that has that footage on video. If you care about the peaceful Muslims of this state, we have a representative that doesn't care about the peaceful Muslims of this state. I call on you, I'm asking you in front of everybody and on camera, may we have that footage, please?
I'll tell you, the answer is not now. When and if it gets to court, yes, and it may, but not now. Here's the situation. You did ask that question. I was standing here, he was over there. You said, are you concerned about the backlash to peaceful Muslims? You absolutely, I heard it, that's what you asked. And you said, Tom, are there any Muslims on the Florida Security Council? Yes. And then, actually you asked both to Hassner. That's what the tape shows. You asked both to Hassner, and he said, Tom will take the first one. And I went on and explained that there are no Muslims on the Florida Security Council except Zudi, who helps us out, and we've reached out. No one wants to be involved at this point because of the film, primarily, Mohammed's reason. So I went on a little bit, and then I threw it back to Hassner. I said, you could answer the second one. And as clear as can be, he, as a public speaker, restates the question, and the tape verifies this directly. He says, the question is, am I concerned about any backlash that this film causes? In his mind, we're dealing with a lot of political backlash right now because of that film. And he says, no, I'm not. And my dear friend here got a little excited, and then all hell kind of broke loose at that point. And then he tried to clarify himself, but Imam thought he saw an Achilles to take somebody out that he doesn't like because he's on Mohammed's website, Obsession Watch, as one of the guys to watch. So what I would have done, and I spoke to you afterwards about this, and I respect Imam Mohammed al-Darsani. I said, Mohammed, here's what I do. If I don't understand your question, I give you the benefit of the doubt. I said, could you help me understand that? And I'll do it 3 times. The tape is running, the thing, just like you just did to me, which I thought was very professional. He should have done that. And if Hassner at that point said peaceful Muslims, which he would never say that, I would have said, are you out of your mind? I would be on your side. It's not what he said. When this gets to court, if it gets to court or anything like that, yes, but I'm not going to allow any tape I may or may not have to be dragged in a battle that can be solved on a human level, on a friendship level.
Yes. I don't mean to cut you off.
No, it's okay. I cut off people, you cut me off.
I've tried respectfully. I've called Tom's office.
Adam?
Or Adam Hassner's office. I've left him messages. I've sent him 3 certified letters. He is not answering me.
You're the person doing that.
Okay, let's go on, next question.
I could probably help put that together. Okay. He had no idea who was doing that. And he said, "Do you know this guy?" I said, "I don't know who that guy is. I'm very, very sorry. I could help, I think."
He is not trying to be, he is hiding.
Next question, please.
We can deal with this. Yes, I'm sorry.
Thank
This is a
you.
little airing some laundry, but hey, this is life, folks.
Okay, thank you very much. Obsession links Muslims with Nazis. You say that it was sad that Ashtutra produced such propaganda. Can you explain that a little more to me? Any of you?
Ask that again if you would.
Okay, obsession links Muslims to Nazis. You say that it was sad that Ashtutra produced such propaganda. Can you explain that a little more?
I think I know what you're talking about. You're talking about H. Hatora. So.
Oh.
Yes, I'm one of the people in obsession. But before I will get there. I am a professor. Logic tells you that if you want to know about science, you ask a freaking scientist. You want about Islam, you ask a so-called specialist. My mother thinks I'm a dummy, but hey, I have the credentials that says I'm an Islamic jurist. I'm the one that will provide the information. I am pro-Israel, I make no secret of it in many ways. So I'm so-calledly moderate. But in the film, who is giving all the opinions on Islam? Not the people who knows about it. Some people say any practicing Muslim is a radical Muslim. When I saw the plane hit the tower, that was jihad coming to America. See, that's not information, that's propaganda. Why do I call it vile? Because you see, what happened in that film is what's happening here in many ways. Muslims, here is the strategy. Attack, 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 attack. And we have to defend. And in the process of that attack, you can say whatever filth you wish to say. No matter which way, we still got it thrown at us, so we look weak defending. Why do I call it vile propaganda? Because in the film it makes the connection between Islam and Nazism. Here is the problem. They put in Islam and Nazism, Islam and Nazism. I feel sad because I told you earlier my master's is in Judaism. My daughters have Jewish names, at least 2 of them. I love that religion more than many of you would like me to. Yes, that is the truth. And when a Jewish organization gets involved in something that puts Muslims in the same position that Jews were in Nazi Germany, when charges are made against them that they are not good German citizens, that they are vermin and that they are trash and that that's subversive elements in society, when a community that has undergone that struggle and test seeks to foist it on others, and I'm not saying H. Hatora is representative of all Jews, because Tom was talking earlier about when he shows the films to Jews and Christians, how many of them say, I forget Tom, but paraphrasing, wow, this is a problem we have in America. Okay. The problem is, Jews and Christians in San Diego came to me to tell me they would not allow the film to be shown.
Thank you. Next question.
Hello, salam, peace, shalom. I'm a high school student, a public high school student at a school in the Brandon area. And as you can imagine, every day I walk with students, Christian, Jews, Muslim, well, very few Muslims actually. And, they're curious students. They're naive. They have the same feelings and emotions just like me. But, I hear a lot of students talking about Islam in a negative way, oh, it was Muslim terrorists because this and that, and it pains me inside. I'm a human being like them. I have the same AP classes as them, and so, but let me ask you this though. Here we are talking about this movie. Think about the current state that we're in right now. Our economy is so decrepit, is so deteriorating right now. $700 billion bailout. Environment is a mess. We're in a war in Iraq, which I don't know. I'm sure it's not going well, of course, even though people may say it's going good. And morality is decaying. Instead of these producers who produce such a video like this, don't you think that maybe they could have put this money to educating people about tolerance and understanding instead of, spewing hate? And I'm sure some of the things in the video, some of these things it's a harsh fact, yes. Most of the terrorists today are Muslim, and it pains me. It pains me. I'm not going to neglect the fact. But why are these terrorists Muslim? As a Muslim, what can I do to stop this? And maybe, I mean, is education a way to do this? Instead of us, just having these discussions, maybe these people could have put money to something else instead of a cause like this. So, is this a war on terror or is this a war on error? That's what I want to know.
Okay, thank you.
Ma'am, that was a great question. That was great. And you are exactly the type of person here that I am trying to protect. Because 75% of the mosques, I've been to over 200 mosques in the United States, 75% of the mosques thus far are providing material like California, the Califia. They got the black flag of jihad. They're putting Sayyid Qutb, Maududi. And as long as they're doing that, as long as they're putting out this hate material, in 75% of the mosques, and if anyone disagrees with me, I went to Tampa, like I said yesterday, for Friday prayer. If anyone disagrees with me, why would you have Maududi in your mosque? You, ma'am, I think have asked a good question. You need to ask your imams and your scholars why they're allowing that. Because I would never allow Tamimi or Timothy McVeigh to be in my church. Why is Maududi material? When I went, I didn't know a lot about Islam 5 years ago. I went and asked your moms and your scholars, and I asked them, tell me much more about Islam. They give me a book of Sayyid Qutb and Maududi and Ali al-Tamimi. Why? You need to ask your scholars and imams why they're putting this out. Go to the Islamic Society at Tampa, look in the bookstore of Maududi material and ask them why.
Well, you need to know in Fort Myers we have a mosque and 2 Islamic centers. They have been gracious, accepting. After 9/11, they had all of these receptions.
Yes, sir.
Supported, and none of this kind of material.
Yes, sir, but I don't think you've been. How many of you went to? But I think as a moderator, sir, I would ask that you be a moderator and not one-sided.
I will keep the material appropriate, I think. Thank you. Mohammed, your dad.
I want to add that one of the problems we have in the United States, that the United States governments and the media, the mainstream media of the United States, the biased media, all of it, not allowing our moderate scholars to come and teach the people here. They are creating a vacuum by design. The other thing is, the United States media outlets do not, I'm saying do not broadcast not even 0.1% of what the true scholars of Islam all over the world are saying about the problems of terrorism, about the occupation, about what's happening to people within Islam who are oppressed. And the only way they can vent out is violence, because Islam, unfortunately, in the land of the Muslim countries, doesn't have a voice. This is a reality. Most people here don't know about that. And I know I am on tape and I'll be in hot water with the people in the Middle East. Because the true Islam, the moderate Islam, is not allowed. Because every time the moderate Islam is allowed, they are scared they'll lose power and their corrupted system will collapse. And who support these people? I'll leave the answer to you. And who protects them?
Thank you.
I got an idea. Were you serious about that 10 grand? Or was that just hyperbole? Let me suggest this as a follow-up to what we're doing. We put a study group together that you help fund, okay, that you can be on. And if you change your mind, that's fine. We'll find the funds. And Nizan, right? Nizar. And we select 4, 5, 6 people to put a study group together that the Florida Security Council works with. And we start moving in a direction to find a set of doctrines that we could agree represents moderate or American Islam, something we come up with. Because right now, we're shooting at a moving target. We get together, and maybe after 6 months of trying to do this, we go, you know what, it ain't gonna happen. But maybe we come up with 2 or 3 principles that we can agree to that's a starting place to start bringing the moderate Islamic element together with the Christian and Jewish element together to stand against the political Islam element.
Thank you. We're going to the next question, please.
I'm still talking, excuse me. I'm the guest here too, okay? So this is important stuff. Would you be willing to do that?
Absolutely.
Okay, can you help with that? Would you be a part of that? Would you?
Will be willing to be a part of any effort to bring the true Islam to the surface and start the campaign against the Muslims.
All right, he'll be a part. Okay, we got something going here. Thank you very much, sir.
Please.
I have a very quick question directed to Mr. Trento. And I mean, it's going to sound like I'm arguing semantics, but to me, this reflects the same, sorry, I'll make it very quick. The same mentality that the gentleman earlier who suggested that these women were dressed like they belonged in the 19th century. When you were talking about screening the movie, you said, when showing the film to Christians and Jews, normal people. I have my camera here and I have it on tape. What does that imply about, I mean, what were you getting at? Why is it normal people without Muslims in reference in the audience?
There's extreme Christians and Jews that would overreact and would not be concerned about the moderate Muslim or dealing with the problem in a proper way. And I've heard it articulated, let's kill them all, you know, and those folks would not be part of what I'm talking about right now. Okay. I was referring to the non-moderate Christians and Jews that are out there.
Next question.
In Tom's defense, he is a very fair person. When someone gets out of line on any side, he will step in. So that's his advantage.
Hello, my question. On the Obsession DVD, they show a bunch of people. This is for Tom Trento. Would you consider the people on the front of the Obsession DVD that was mailed out, would you consider them to be violent terrorists that are shown on the front of the cover?
Oh. The cover? I don't really recall the cover.
It's everywhere.
I have no idea whether or not they're violent terrorists or not. I don't
would you agree that they're radical Islamic extremists?
These people pictured here?
Yeah.
I have no idea who they are, and I could not make that explanation. What I would say is this picture being used to draw attention to the movie? Of course. I've never analyzed it in that way.
It just seems to me like you are using, it would be, for example, like putting Timothy McVeigh and showing a bunch of, like the people that did the Columbine shooting and stuff, making a movie about them, and saying, so on the front of the cover it also says, radical Islam's jihad against the West or something similar to that. It would be like making a movie with Timothy McVeigh in it and putting radical Christianity's war against the West or something similar to that. And you said yourself that you don't consider Timothy McVeigh to be a Christian. So it just seems to me like you are contradict your actions and your beliefs, what you speak and what you support with this other group that made the movie contradict each other.
Okay, I didn't make that statement that he wasn't a Christian, but I certainly would agree with that. Okay.
Hello. You know, that gentleman earlier who said most Muslim women look like the rest from the 19th century. Some of us took that as a compliment because we're like vintage clothing anyway. But that's not my question. Earlier, during Dave's presentation, I kept hearing him refer to the word jihad as something violent, and I just want to make a clarification for everyone that the word jihad does not necessarily mean violence. There's two things the Muslim community who follows, and they believe that jihad has two meanings: the inner struggle and the lesser struggle, and the greater struggle and the lesser struggle. And the majority of Muslims practice jihad in our own way because that's also spiritual. Like for myself, I believe I practice jihad not because I'm violent. Like if you ask most of my friends, I'm pacifist. But it's because I go outside every single day. I wear the scarf, and I'm ridiculed a lot. And that's like my own struggle that I'm going through. So I like during your next presentation to clarify the word jihad as not only meaning violence, but also an inner struggle. And a lot of scholars who preach jihad, they're not necessarily advocating violence all the time. They're advocating a spiritual growth. So,
okay, thank you. Thank you. Please, let's try to keep the comments, the questions, so that everybody has another chance. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum. There's an old saying, I don't know if you gentlemen agree with it or not, I want to know your opinion about it, about that old saying. It said, one man is terrorist is another man's freedom fighter. What do you think of that? Also, do you agree with me that attacking a country like Iraq, killing a lot of civilians for no reason, had created thousands of bin Ladens? If you consider them not a terrorist, of course.
Okay, great questions again. I was in Iraq in 2003, and I asked the Muslim people themselves the same thing. And the Muslim people were thanking the Americans right from the beginning about the attack against Saddam Hussein. Now, again, the sister that made the mention about the hijab a minute ago, I would like to clarify this for myself, everyone in the room. When I went to Iraq, I would give my life then, I would give my life today for you to be able to wear the hijab or the niqab, whatever be the preference. But I would ask that you work with me to ensure that you get nothing about the hijab or the niqab. I would ask that you get the material. When we talk about jihad, we all know that there's a violent jihad, there's an internal struggle, and then there's a physical fighting type jihad. I mentioned that first. You got a peaceful jihad, and then you got the physical fighting. My duty, my understanding, does not teach, nor would McVeigh teach, a peaceful struggle.
Thank you. Next question.
Hello. This question is for Mr. Dave. You said you're looking for the truth and you're in search of learning about stuff. Well, how is it that you go to all these mosques and you only find the flaws? Like in reality, you said like in the mosque, like in Sly and stuff, you didn't see the free clinics, you didn't see the free food, you only saw the,
Yes,
you know, well that's not what you showed. In reality, you're pointing out the flaws in that.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am, I did. I've seen the good side. I saw the good side in Saudi and Baghdad. I've seen the good side in America. But you cannot, if I go to a church, I went to many churches too, the first time I see Timothy McVeigh as this is how you understand Christianity, I don't care what they're doing inside that church. If they're giving away free shots, if they're giving away free hospital care, they're giving away $10,000 to every needy person. You praise Timothy McVeigh, then you're supporting terrorism. And the same as Maududi. Does anyone in this room consider Maududi not to be a terrorist? Then that was the question. Okay. Then that's what we're talking about here.
What I was asking is, how come
Yes, ma'am.
it seems that you're pointing out our flaws, not
No,
the
ma'am.
good things.
I said I owe my life to the
We're
Muslim
searching
people.
for the truth, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I owe my life to the Muslim people, and I think I said 25% of the scholars in America are not providing violent material. 75% are.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks.
Dr. Mohammed Winners.
Let me put some objectivity on something. As a professor, let me take a step back. The problem in Islam is our selection of scholars. Maududi, the question was a loaded one, is Maududi a terrorist? I oppose many of the positions of Maududi. I consider him one who has put Islam backwards when it comes to the position of women. So that makes him a sort of a terrorist. The problem with people like Maududi is that at the same time he says a lot of good stuff that appeals to the people of his tribe. So this is why you find his books in mosques. The Muslims ought to have something better. But before, once again, I talk about Jesus' thing about taking the log out of your own eye. If you're going to talk about Maududi, let me tell you something. Jim Hagee, how many of you know who he is? How many of you have read his book, Countdown, Jerusalem Countdown? I don't see any hands. Then read the damn book. How many of you know of David Jeremiah? How many of you know of Pat Robertson? How many of you know of Franklin Graham? And it goes on and on and on. And you talk to me where the hate comes from. The hate comes from these guys. We got them every Sunday on TV.
Thank you. Thank you. We've got to go to the next question. We're past our time, please.
I'm going to try to make this quick. I have a lot of points I have to say.
Just one.
Well, I'll make it quick. I have limited time. I'll make the best of it. Like when I studied business management, I got a degree in management, right? And you learn in your company, you have engineers that work in the company, they don't talk about this. And I feel the two people here are very ignorant. So when I deal with an intellectual, I feel like I'm getting somewhere. When you deal with ignorance, it only leads to more ignorance. So in hip hop, for example, statistics like they're saying there's 200 messages he visited. Well, first of all, there's 1,200 messages. So a statistic of 75% of imams, you can only get to only 25% of messages, first of all, if his claim is true. Second of all, in the beginning, he said that there's 3 tests, and I took those 3 tests. The law of non-contradiction, and there's no contradiction. and there's no facts, and everybody here who is Muslim thinks it makes sense and feels good about being Muslim. And this misclaim, and if you study history, which I think you should, the reason America was established is because people left the oppression of Europe of Christianity to come to this country. Or if you study Islamic history, people, Muslim, Christians, Jews and women used to wear the hijab because they wanted the same respect they were getting under Islamic Sharia, which they erased so much. But under Sharia, rape was gone, poverty was gone. All these things you talk about were gone. But that's, and we say when we bring Islam to this country, it brings the good things. So when you call these scholars terrorists, you have all these false claims. You read one book, doesn't make any sense. And when you call Islam, Karen, all of them, if you go into any place and you want to find bad, you'll find bad. Because I went to Islam, Ohio, they have a disclaimer, like you have a disclaimer for the movie, they have a disclaimer. They don't support terrorism. So who decides what terrorism is? It's not you.
No, we're going to go on. We're past time and we have other questions, please.
Karen said there's approximately 2,000 mosques, not 1,200, but what Karen doesn't know, they've got the mosque census going on right now, and they have no idea. They have no idea how many mosques are in the United States.
Okay, please.
My question is to the two gentlemen right there, Tom and the one on the right, Dave. Sorry. You spoke earlier, Tom, about the searching for the truth and everything like this, and everyone knows that in the search for the truth, you always have to remain true to yourself. My question is for both of you. What are your qualifications to talk about Islam? Yes. Where? Like, I assume you seek healthcare advice. Do you just go to anyone who read a book on the street? You go to a doctor who's licensed, certified, and all these things. You two are up here talking about Islam, all these things. I'm just sitting laughing because some of the basic tenets and principles, you've thrown around the word jihad. Where does this word come from? It's referenced in the Quran 4 times in 4 different ways. But everyone talks about war and inner struggle. What about jihad and mal? Have you heard of this? What is that? Jihad of wealth, jihad of speech. Yes. All these things. Yes. What are your qualifications? That's my question, basically.
My qualifications, good question, because I answered that right from the beginning. I am not an Islamic scholar.
Okay, so
I am not, but so what I did, sir, was go to the mosque. 200 so far. We're going to all 2,000. If there's 2,000, there may be 1,200. Most people, mosques close every other day in the United States for lack of participation. We know that. But there's 1,200 to 3,000. I go to your mosque and I ask them those questions.
I haven't got an answer to my question. What are your formal qualifications, education, training in Islam to talk about?
Okay, I went 2,500 hours of Arabic and the U.S. State Department. U.S. State Department. Since 1979, I've been going to Saudi Arabia, Baghdad, Jordan. I've got more knowledge of the Middle East than most people.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. That's enough. Thank you. Next.
My knowledge is your mom's.
Please, next question.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Dave and Tom, one simple question and one simple answer. Do you think I'm a radical Muslim?
By
looking at me like this?
Yes, sir. By dress alone? No, sir. I think that you're probably more Sharia adherent. But are you a radical? No, I would. But no, you got the watch on the right hand. You wear the dress above the ankles. Are you being more Sharia adherent? Of course. Does that mean that you're a terrorist? No. You and I would probably go out and have coffee together, sit and talk together, and get on. After I've talked with you a couple of days, if you hand me a book by Maududi, or if you hand me a book about Osama bin Laden, then I will say that there's probably a higher probability that you are.
Thank you.
But based on your dress, no, sir.
One quick question, and then we're going to do the comments from each of them, please.
In the movie session, since that's what we're talking about, my question will be about that. And, Tom, my question is to you again.